She said, well, when do I get to start selecting? You know, if they're not going to get vaccinated, I don't want to take care of them. Don't I get to say no? And I looked at her and said, no, you don't get to say no. You took an oath. And you're a nurse and you're a physician. So I don't have an answer for you. I know that there will be certain inflection points that have occurred along this pandemic that will be our legacy for decades.
Yeah.
And I'll give you 4. 1, the way we treated our elderly when we made them die alone.
Yes. Yes.
2, when we took people who are hardworking
Yep.
and in a safe business
Yep.
and are responsible Minnesotans,
Yes.
and we shut them down and said, you don't get to decide if you get to make a living.
Right.
3, what we did to the children and the masks,
Yes.
not knowing what that will do for the next
Yes.
10, 20, 30 years.
Yes.
And the last one will be the medical profession.
Yeah.
Because we will not heal the medical profession in my lifetime.
Right.
We are fractured. Every day there are people on Twitter and Facebook calling for my license to be removed. They have no compassion at all.
Yeah.
Forget me. They have no compassion at all for the 3,000 or 4,000 patients I take care of. And you know what? Those people calling for my license, they're not interested in seeing any new patients. They don't care about the fact that I would have 3,000 patients that would no longer have a doctor.
Yeah.
And I know who's got a gallbladder and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's worth something.
Yeah.
How is your voice holding up? You good? Okay, go ahead, man.
Hi, I am a mom of a Marine, and this makes me cry. I work with some veterans in a great place up north called Eagles Healing Nest.
Yeah.
And I see our veterans treated so incredibly horrible right now
Mm-hmm.
by the person that sits in our highest office.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have seen so much. I have seen so much hurt. There's a lot of Marine moms in this audience today. We came to see you because what I want to know is, as governor, we have hospitals, a vet's hospital, that does not give the care that these boys and girls need. And I know there's good doctors that want to help them, but I don't know what's going on. I just know that they're not getting what they need. I know that we have vets that are just in crisis right now because of what just happened.
Yes.
I'm dealing with people, many, many moms from not just the Marine Corps, but every corps. And it's heartbreaking what I'm seeing because they don't know what to tell the vets that came back from Afghanistan. We've had suicides from children that are in the Marine Corps right now that you don't hear. We have suicides up north because of what's going on. So I guess as governor, what I'm saying is we aren't taking care of our vets. There's a way to take care of them. There's a way to cure PTSD, but our vets can't get the help that they need. We've got a huge homeless problem of veterans. And I would like you to talk to someone that has made a difference here in Minnesota, because she goes all over the country and meets vets and asks them to come home. And her name is Melanie Butler. And Walls disdains her. He disdains our military. And I want to know where you stand, sir. I want to know that when our boys come home, that my governor is going to take care of them. Our sons are being vaccinated without their choice, and they're always vaccinated without their choice. But this is one time, because it was experimental, that they had a choice. I just want to know what you can do, and if there is anything you can do. And if you're governor of our state, can it be something that can show the rest of the states that we know how to do it? Because she knows how to do it. And he won't even listen. But she's had success. So that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm sorry for your pain. I think as governor, I would have the chance, the opportunity to drive pretty hard to get a health freedom amendment passed. It's why I'm writing a bill right now to make Minnesota a health freedom sanctuary state, so that we can say to the president and to the federal government,
Yeah.
no, not in Minnesota. You don't get to do that. In Minnesota, our veterans will have choices, just like everybody else will.
Yeah.
In terms of the care that veterans receive, we're at a crisis with the care of really all of us.
Exactly.
Caring and compassion can no longer be taken for granted because they're not happening everywhere. And you're seeing it in a very raw sense. There's no easy magic bullet to fix that, but I stand with you. I stand with you.
Go ahead.
My question, much like the one that was just asked, is if we get you in office as our governor, will you give us your word of honor to stand up to the crap that we see coming out of our nation's capital, much like the way Governor Abbott does, the way Governor DeSantis does, and push back against those people in a way that protects us as U.S. citizens
Right.
and the citizens of the state?
Yeah.
You have my word.
Fair enough.
Thank you for being here. I too am a military mom. I gotta
Can you step right up to the mic, please?
Yeah, I too am a military mom, Army. And my son's 22 years old. He's stationed over in South Korea. And being forced or being coerced to try and take the shot. They just had a roundup, and 3 of his fellow guys, he's in a small unit, and Bosan, he's a pilot, and at 22 he's doing well, but he is ready. He doesn't know what's ahead for him. They had a roundup. He was ushered in there with his commander and first lieutenant, and they know where his stand is. He's filing a religious exemption. What's to come, I don't know, but he's ready to take that stand. My question to you is, what can you do now as a senator, as a political figure, to help these young men, I mean, in the military that are being coerced? Because seriously, he's got friends of his that have been told that you're going to be dishonorably discharged, you'll never fly again, we'll make it pure hell for you. And then I have my son-in-law and my daughter, they're getting out of the military just to avoid taking the shot. And the numbers of people that are putting in their packets to get out is unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm not a senator. I'm just a candidate.
Yeah.
And I have no power other than my voice.
Yeah.
And so I use my voice, I use my videos, I come out and I say, ignore the words of the President of the United States. I get beat up every day on social media and in the media, and the Star Tribune is preparing to do a hit article on me tomorrow. So there's nothing I can do other than use my voice. That's why I'm running. I'd love to give you an answer that's more satisfying, but I can't.
Ma'am, go ahead.
Can you please tell me what your stance on protecting the unborn is? Would you be willing to sign a bill?
Oh, I have. I've got a perfect rating with MCCL. I'm pro-life. I mean, I spent my life delivering 500 babies and I'm not interested in killing them.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm Jim. I've worked in politics helping getting good conservative candidates for over 20 years. In the rural areas, we've been very successful. But in the state levels, we've had trouble because of our metro areas. I've been an election judge, a poll watcher, and what is your thought? We have approximately 4,000 precincts. We got about 3,000 Republican election judges. The Democrats have 20,000 election judges. How do we encourage people to be an election judge? Everybody here should be an election judge and be able to serve in the cities or whatever. That's the only way we're going to get what you've been talking about, is some good ideas, And it's the only way we're gonna get good people in there is to get that election with people watching what's going on. And so,
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. So I don't know if you heard the statistic, but for every Republican election judge, there are 7 Democratic election judges. The good news is that we're 14 months in front of the campaign, of the election, and we have never been as energized as we are now. I was at the state fair, my wife and I were there. I was there every day, 12 out of 12 days. I've never done that in my life. No, again. 6 hours a day. I mean, it was very intense. If I could give a shout out, there's a chapel there on the campus of the state fair. It's called Crossroads. What a blessing they were to us. They were across the street. We worked together. I did radio. I needed a quiet place to do radio, Chad Hartman, those kinds. They would let me use their office. They frequently fed me. They were just a gift from God. So if you see any of those folks, it was just amazing. First day, we got connected, and I mean, it was raining hard, and they were saying big storms are coming in. So they came over and says, because we have this little booth, and the wind just rips through it. And they said, you can come over to our place. That's a good deal. So anyway, but to get to your point, we are energized. And so what we were doing at the state fair every day was we actually, because that wasn't a call of ours as a campaign, but we went to the MNGOP and said, is there anything we can do to help? Because I think actually we had more traffic in ours than they did in theirs sometimes. But they gave us their forms, and we went and got them copied. And so we were signing up election judges all day, every day for 12 days. And then we would turn those, and we told people, we'll turn them over to MNGOP. So I think we've got a boost more than we've had in the past.
Yeah.
But we've got to just keep on pushing. And that's why every time I give a talk, I try to elevate the need for election judges, because you're absolutely right. And just the quiet presence of you watching people come in, it is going to discourage shenanigans. And we've got to discourage shenanigans.
make sure you go into the auditor's office and get recorded as a Republican.
I think that the MNGOP will have a full court press on that in February, March, April. I really would like to get rid of this whole thing with mail-in ballots. I mean, that's really the thing that scares me. I mean, we have just got to tighten it up. I mean, you get a mail-in ballot. John Doe lived there for 6 months, then Jane McGillicuddy lives there, and all of a sudden you got 3 ballots being mailed to that place, and there it sits, and people open them up, says, oh, I'll vote 3 times. I mean, it's just crazy. Other questions? Seeing none, I think I'm going to take advantage of this, if I could.
Yes.
I'd just like to say thank you. This is what needs to happen all across America. It does. Honest conversations.
Yeah.
And you've been very, very patient. And at some level, you have to be a bit bored. But no, thank you very much for coming. And let's do this together, because you know what? We're not one Minnesota, and we need to heal. And the only way that's going to happen is if we together say, let's heal Minnesota. Thanks so much, folks.
We're going to make one more question. So this is the last question.
I don't even really want to ask this, but I'm going to.
Yes, I missed that 4-foot putt and it cost me the golf tournament.
Why you over Dr. Shaw?
Why me over Dr. Shaw? That's a good question. Neil's a friend of mine. And Neil's never done anything in politics. So I think Neil is a real good man. He's well-spoken. He's articulate. He writes well. And I think our positions are pretty consistent. I don't know all of his positions, but so I think that probably, I'm going to guess he's 20, 25 years younger than I am. I'm going to guess that, by my experience, I think serving 1 term, knowing a little bit about how the process works, knowing how they'll try to railroad a governor, how they'll try to surround you with an echo chamber. I think that I've sort of stood at the breach, and nobody can say, gee, Doc, we don't really know if you have the intestinal fortitude to stand up to the heat. If you haven't gotten to that conclusion yet, then you aren't paying attention. So there's nobody in Minnesota that's taken more criticism for their positions than me. And I didn't flinch and I didn't kiss the ring. So that has to come for something. And I think that I think as a family doctor, I've had 40 years of practice of talking with everybody. As a dermatologist specialist, it's going to be a little different. I mean, you can only talk about warts and moles so far. I mean, you've got to dive into the good stuff. The congestive heart failure and the gallbladder. And what about that hangnail? You know, so, and I think the third thing is, I'm remarkably funny. And I think that, as a general rule, politicians are so tedious. So we're going to have to go around and we're going to have to do something different in this state. And people are going to have to say, I like that guy. He's sort of stupid, but he's good. So those would be the big reasons.
An honor to have you. Thank you for coming. And I'm supposed to pass a word on from the people who did the parking that it's really tight out there, so go slow and be careful so we don't get some fender benders. Thank you for coming tonight. Be blessed. Have an awesome night.